I call it a way of life, no way that you can stop me. You know that I've been training, right? The more you try to block me, the more that I control the fight. And now you on the ropes, now you on the ropes. What you gon' do? Quitting's not an option. That voice in your head that keeps telling you you got this, lied to you, and now everybody's watching. You should've worked a little harder, cause man, your punches are garbage. I dream big, ain't that the point of it? Let's keep it real, huh? Ain't that the point of it? They used to tell me I was nothing, nothing. Now they tell me that I'm something. What's it gonna take for you to understand the concept? I ain't really got no time for all the nonsense. See to you this is a joke, a little project. I guess you'll never understand this kind of mindset. Started as a dream, grew into reality. Made a lot of sacrifices, that's how it has to be. I give it everything I got, ain't no way you passing me. I know we're in the same profession, but you're not a match for me. I'm on another level, I'm on another level. I said I'm on another level, on another level.
What is up, YouTube? Live via satellite here, and today we are talking Kingdom, Manga chapter 557. And today, man, we have got to give Riboku his props, man. While everybody else on the battlefield was looking dumbfounded and confused, Riboku was the only one able to figure out Ousens' tactics. This goes for Chigaryu, Kane, even Ohan, the son of Ousen, was not able to figure out a way to defeat this defense. But it looks like to me that Riboku was able to make small work of it, which I'm not gonna lie was a pretty impressive feat, and I actually think that Akko thought this was impressive as well because he was caught very off guard. In his mind, there was no way that the Zao were gonna be able to break that defense. And to me, that's actually the caveat here. Even though this is Ousens' defense, it's still Akko trying to imitate it. He's basically being a knockoff version of Ousen. And we all know that you can buy the knockoff version of anything, from shoes, to clothes, to movies, even the food you eat. And as you're sitting there eating your bowl of pranks instead of tricks, you'll find out something's missing. Even though it's close, it's just not the same.
Can I take a picture of your phones? Huh? Can I take a picture of your phones? Yeah. Show my friends how fake they are?
Alright, so the chapter picks up with the Hi Shin Unit facing off against the Gaku A army. And we see Bihei and some of the others struggling against them, and they're actually wondering where they're actually able to draw all this strength from, especially since it's the 9th day of battle. But if I had to take a guess, I would think it's because the Gaku A army cavalry all seem to be wearing some really unique armor.
Call me nuts, but how do you put this thing on?
But as their infantry starts to charge in as well, making way for Gaku A, we get a more realistic answer to Bihei's question, as Gaku A tells his men to remember the 4th day at Kokyo Hills, and that they fight in honor of Keisha-sama. And with that, we see Gaku A taking out members of the Hi Shin Unit and yelling out to his men to kill them all and to leave none of them alive. Back at the Hi Shin Unit HQ, we see reports coming in letting Ten and Shin know that they're struggling on the front lines. Hearing this, Shin's had enough and decides that it's time for him to go out, but Ten yells for him to wait. She says trying to take them head on now would cause way too many casualties. Then we see Ten thinking about the fact that even though they knew that the Gaku A army's morale would be high since they were facing them, the amount of energy they have has blown their expectations out of the water. And she can't believe that they have this much energy on the 9th day. Meanwhile, I found it kind of funny how nobody's batting an eye that Bihei's requesting backup. I mean, it's almost like they're thinking, what else is new? Then we find ourselves back over with Ohan's group, and Shotaku doesn't seem to think that the Hi Shin Unit is looking too good at the moment, especially the way the Gaku A soldiers are fighting right now. And Banyo actually agrees with this point, thinking that maybe attacking Gaku A was the wrong target for today's plan. But Ohan says no, everything is actually going according to plan, and that now Gaku A has been lured out and it's time for them to make their move. Seeing that the Gyokuho unit is making their move, Ten and Shin both realize that now the time is right for Shin to go on the offensive. With the Gyokuho hitting the Gaku A army on the left, That should slow their momentum down, allowing Shin along with the Hi Unit to be able to punch right through the center. And with that, the race is on between Shin and Ohan to see which one of them will be able to claim Gaku A's head first. So then we find ourselves back over on Akko's side of the battlefield, and his defense still seems to be holding strong. The Zao soldiers do not understand why they cannot break through. And as one group finally has an opening and tries to quickly get through, we see some of the other Zao soldiers saying now's not the time to celebrate, because there's more to this formation than just making it through the first layer. And on cue, we see soldiers noticing the break in the formation and rushing over to help handle the situation. And with this added support, we see the Zao soldiers bouncing off these shields as if they were running into walls of stone. Over at Chigaryu, he's receiving reports that his men have been able to break the first line, but somehow, due to this formation, still wind up being pushed back outside. It's even mentioned that one of Chigaryu's main guys, Josho, hasn't even made any progress. And after thinking to himself for a bit, Chigaryu realizes that this isn't the type of defense that repairs, but at a casual glance, it's also not the type of defense that should be able to hold you at bay as if it were stone. And that not only has it been able to stand up to their attacks, but it's actually done one better by easily shrugging off the attacks that the three armies are throwing at this defense at the same time. And Chigaryu can't help but to wonder what type of trickery Akko is using to weather their attacks. And as we start to look at things from Akko's vantage point, we see something right off the bat that immediately makes Akko 1000% better than Mako. And that is the simple fact that in his right hand, he is actually holding his own glaive. I mean, remember, Riboku called Mako with his pants so far down, this man wasn't even holding his own glaive. He was practically defenseless against Assassin Riboku. But we see here that Akko is confident in his defense that he has inherited from Ousens, and says that the Zao can attack all they want. This defense will never be penetrated by the likes of them. But unfortunately for Akko, usually when you think nothing can go wrong, everything does.
Ikke ejeren af bilen her bag mig. Næste gang overvejer I... Ej, shit. Okay.
And then we get to see Banaji finally make his long-awaited entrance. And it's stated that even him and his men would have trouble against that formation if they weren't able to figure out the mystery. But it seems that Riboku let Banaji know that this formation that Akko's using actually has interconnecting joints. And as Akko's informed that Banaji is incoming, we see Banaji yell to the Zao soldiers on the front lines to open a path for him. And with that, we see him easily crash through the front line of defense for the Akko army. But Chigaryu, looking on, isn't surprised that using his strength, Banaji was able to make it through the first line of defense. But he knows that this formation doesn't show its true power till you get through to the next level. And as the soldiers start to rush into position, it appears as if Banaji ignores that group and crashes into a different set of soldiers. This catches Akko's attention, and Chigaryu is stunned to see that Banaji is able to move through the formation with such ease. Then we find ourselves back at Kane and Riboku, where we find out that Riboku is schooling Kane on the fact that this formation consists of two types of soldiers. One of the types is a small group of soldiers that forms the outer shell, which is freely attached to by another group of soldiers which provides the support, and being as they're able to move freely from one area to the next are called the joints. But Kane has to apologize to Riboku because no matter how she looks at it, all she can see is nothing but a big mess.
El que lo vio como un espectador, sin la parcialidad o sin su justicia central, habrá disfrutado enormemente del partido.
But she does ask Riboku, are these joints the reason that this formation is so strong? And Riboku goes on to say when the outer shell is breached, the joints quickly connect one shell to another and modifies the formation. And that the clear distinction between the roles is what allows them to move so quickly. So these joints appear to have a couple different functions, where one, they're able to actually support the outer shell and resist most normal attack, but in the event that it is broken through, the joints are also able to absorb this shock and prevent the outer shell from breaking down completely. but Kane still doesn't really understand why Banaji is able to move through the formation so easily. And what Riboku tells her is that it is because he's only targeting the joints. Because once you take out the support, the outer shell becomes nothing but a small group of soldiers. And I really love this panel here because now you get to see that Banaji wasn't going straight through the defense. He actually only broke through like the first line of defense and then turned to start breaking through all the levels of support. And this is where Kane realizes that now with these supports broken, this will now turn into an ordinary defensive line. Finally seeing what their aim is, Akko decides that it is time for his men to switch formations. And as Riboku looks on seeing this, he acknowledges the fact that he would have been surprised if this formation wasn't able to switch into a number of different tactics. But he also says that if you thought Zhao would be complacent enough to give him that window of opportunity, then he's afraid that he would be sorely disappointed. And with that, we see Gi-eun breaking through the formation, striking while the iron's hot. And that was the chapter in a nutshell, guys. And that was a great chapter of Kingdom, guys, but I'm telling you, man, that is what I meant at the beginning of this review. Did you see how long it took for Akko to make the decision to change formations? Like, if Ousens was running the show, I don't think he would have took that long to notice that Banaji was trying to take out their levels of support. So we'll definitely see what happens next chapter. I mean, apparently that was probably the weakness that Riboku was talking about. I was really thinking it was going to have something to do with Gune, but it's looking like after this chapter, that's pretty much out the window. So next chapter should be pretty crazy. I'm expecting something big to happen. Either Akko's going to die or his army's going to be crippled severely. Because there's no way they're going to make it out of this thing unscathed. And if the Akko army actually winds up in big trouble, that's going to play a big role in what happens on Shin and Ohan's battlefield. Because what if Ohan decides he needs to pull out to help Akko or something like that? And we've already been seeing that the Gaku A army has been wrecking the Hi Shin Unit right now due to their high morale. And we already know that all their plans are going to go up in smoke, so I'm just waiting to get there to see how big of a catastrophe this could possibly be. Because I mean, how much worse can it really actually get? But yeah, man, I cannot take anything from Riboku because like he again showed why he's one of the most intelligent people in Kingdom and why he's a threat. And when you look at it, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do back in Kanyo. He said, you can send everybody at me at the same time, and I'll still be able to handle it. And to be honest with you guys, up to this point, he's been handling it. Like, none of our big guns have made any real moves yet. Like, Kanki hasn't done anything, Ousens hasn't done anything, and Yotaro has to deal with Heki. So I don't know what's going on right now. But I do know it is about time for Ousens to make some sort of play. And I'm expecting to see something within the next few chapters. But for right now, in the immediate future, it's probably going to be a lot of things going in Zhao's favor. But anyway, guys, that about does it for this week's review. Let me know what you guys thought of the chapter in the comments section below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.